Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Grid Buzz podcast. After we had a week off due to travel, we are back with our predictions for the Hungarian GP on our segment of sector times and star signs. The Hungarian GP is another classic European circuit where it's hard to overtake. It seems like it's all of these European circuits that are really hard to overtake in the new generation of cars, although that has been proven wrong quite a bit this year for whatever reason. So hopefully we get proven wrong again and get an exciting race after a pretty slow and boring Spa, which is unfortunate to see because Spa is one of my favorite tracks on the calendar. And from like a sim driving perspective, and when you talk to the drivers, it's one of their favorite tracks to drive, but it's just so hard to overtake in the configuration of being pretty high speed and there not being much of a DRS effect. So hopefully we get more overtaking this weekend. The Hungarian GP is characterized by its very tight corners and not very long straights. It is often referred to as Monaco without walls. We also have, from a weather perspective, it on a bit of the warmer side, although the Hungarian GP is also usually characterized by it being fairly hot. It will be in the 80s Fahrenheit this weekend, so it is on the warmer side, but maybe not as hot as it normally is. So that will play out in Mercedes' favor a little bit, but it's still a little bit too hot for Mercedes, generally speaking. And on Sunday, we are currently forecasted with about a 25% chance of rain. So we will see how that potentially affects the race. And recapping our Silverstone predictions, I scored 2 points to bring me up to 14, predicting a Charles Leclerc flop, which you also predicted as well. And then I got Lando Norris winning the race. So a point for me. And you had an absolute heater on the Silverstone GP. You got 5 points. I'm trying to remember everything you even predicted at this point, but you predicted I think you predicted Lance Stroll top 10, which he hadn't done in a while, and he got P7. You also predicted both Aston Martins in the top 10 as your crazy prediction. That also happened. You also predicted a Charles Leclerc flop. That happened, unfortunately. And there was something else that you picked. I can't even remember what it is at the moment, but yeah.
It's probably had to have been pole position?
Did you predict Max?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Max Verstappen pole position. So yeah, you over doubled your points on the entire season.
I told you I was a comeback kid
for Silverstone. So an absolute heater of a predictions weekend for you.
All right. No. Now what's the differential?
I have 14 and you have 9. So you've closed
Closing the gap
considerably, though, because it was 12-4 before Silverstone. So pretty solid. With that, though, we will dive into our predictions for this week, and we will see whether the sector times or the star signs prevail. It seems like the vibes are slowly creeping higher the last few weekends. So I don't know. Hopefully the data comes back into play at the Hungarian GP. And with that, moving over to your surprise performance, who do you got?
So I think last time we did predictions, I said Lance Stroll. I had never talked about Lance Stroll before. That hit. I'm picking a driver that I've never talked about before, but okay. You have.
All right.
Alex Albon.
Okay. What do you got Alex Albon on?
I predict that he'll make top 5 again.
Top 5. All right.
Yeah. Coming off a good weekend, good race, momentum.
That is definitely a vibe pick because Williams is not typically known to do well around this configuration of circuit.
Well, it's a vibe.
They like low downforce circuits, and this is a high downforce circuit. So if this one lands, there's something in the water on the vibes. So I will say that.
Manifestations.
Yeah, but I like it. I'm similar on the Williams pick, but in a different way, because I'm not picking Alex Albon top 5, that's for sure. But I am picking Carlos Sainz to outperform Alex Albon, which really hasn't happened very much this year, especially as of recent. Sainz has been on kind of a string of flops. Yes, last weekend he did do well during the sprint, but the GP performance when it actually matters was not great. And so I am picking Carlos Sainz to outperform Alex Albon. Carlos Sainz has done decent here in the last few years. I think it was 2022. He put it in the top 3 in Ferrari. And so I think that we're going to get a little bit of a shining moment for Carlos Sainz this weekend. Nice. Moving over, though, into my flop. I hate to do it. It's our whale tail choker boy, Kimi.
Kimi
Antonelli. What a brutal string of performance for him. I think his confidence it has to be pretty defeated at this point, and I think he's in his own head, not performing at the level that he should perform in that Mercedes. And I think he's going to have another stinker of a weekend, putting it outside the top 12 in a Mercedes when that should not be happening, especially with the performance that Russell is putting on. I kind of wonder whether Toto Wolff is starting to regret maybe moving Kimi Antonelli up into Formula One so soon. I mean, he hasn't made any comments, he hasn't made any allusions to that, but just looking at the string of performance lately, and looking at the options he could have had, like, moving Carlos Sainz into that seat. I'm sure he had a bunch of other options on the table. I don't know that moving Kimi up so soon after he skipped Formula 3, went straight to Formula 2, was only in Formula 2 for one season, and then, at 17, 18 years old, moved him up into F1. I don't know that decision has played out well in the last few races. But moving over into your prediction, who is your flop?
My flop is Red Bull.
All right.
No.
Well, Yuki's locked in on that flop, so you're really just betting on a Max Verstappen flop at this point.
Don't come for him. I will defend him.
All right.
Till I die.
Defend him, but he's might be out of a seat next year.
Come on, Yuki, pull it out. Okay, anyway. Yeah, no Red Bull car on podium is my flop.
You got to go lower than that. You got to go lower than that. Yeah, but you need to go lower than that. Max hasn't podiumed in a few races.
I know.
And Yuki obviously has never been on the podium. I think Yuki is the longest, now that Nico Hülkenberg finally put it on the podium in Silverstone. Yuki is now the longest active, or is the active driver with the longest streak of races without putting his car on the podium. So Yuki is not podiuming. You're really just betting on Max, who also hasn't podiumed in the last few races.
All right, not top 6.
All right, I'll give you that. I'll let that one.
That was my crazy prediction. Not that that's crazy, I guess.
All right, well, you got to come up with a better crazy prediction now. That's like a couple weeks ago when I picked Yuki as my flop, and you're like, you can't pick Yuki as your flop because he's flopped every race. And I was like, fine.
All right. Well, I'm coming back from vacation brain. I don't know.
All right. So Red Bull outside the top 6.
Yeah.
So that means P7 or lower.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take it.
I don't feel confident about it, but okay.
I don't think it'll happen, but I'll take it.
Top 5? Can I do top 5?
I'll give you top 5 because I don't think Mercedes will be competitive this weekend in the heat. Kimi Antonelli has not been performing, which really just leaves George Russell. And I think with it being a little bit on the hotter side, I did say the fact that it's not as hot as it normally is does play into Mercedes' hands, but it's still too warm for Mercedes, I think. So really, we've got Max, the McLarens, and the Ferraris all competing for top 5. So actually, as I say this, Max needs to get P6 or lower. That would be a flop. That would mean someone that shouldn't be competing with the top 5 places ahead of him. Are you locking it in?
I'm locking it in now. I'm just trying to figure out what my crazy prediction is.
All right. So Red Bull outside, P6 or lower. Moving over into our pole position predictions, who do you got on pole?
Oscar
Piastri. Why do you got him on pole?
I mean, he's just doing really well this season. I feel like pole is not out of his wheelhouse this weekend. So,
all right,
he's a reliable
reliable
positioner.
Reliable. I like it. I like it so much that was also my pole position prediction. So McLaren is just in a league of their own. Ferrari did bring upgrades last week that had some glimmers of hope. We'll see if they can get those upgrades dialed in and be even more competitive this weekend. But it's going to take a lot to battle with the McLarens, especially on a circuit that is going to be a bit warmer, where they are really good on tire deg. And I don't know that anybody's going to be able to compete very well on that. So we're really talking Oscar Orlando here. And Oscar has been, generally speaking, performing when it matters. Also, Oscar's first ever win was at this circuit last year. So he's definitely got pace around here. He's probably going to look for a repeat. And so I've got Oscar Piastri on pole as well. So moving over into our top 3, though. Third step of the podium, I've got Charles Leclerc. So I think that he's going to beat out Max for the third step. I think that they're going to dial in that package, that upgrade that they bought last weekend a bit better, give him a little bit more pace. Now, he did beat Max last weekend anyway, but it did appear that Max had more pace during the GP, but just because of the configuration of circuit and all of the factors and the fact that Max switched to a more wet weather setup and then the rain stopped, he just wasn't able to get past Leclerc. So Max was the faster car, but I think that Charles is going to be the faster car this weekend and get himself on the third step. So what do you got for the third step?
I have Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton. All right. Tough weekend last weekend, but looked actually pretty solid during the GP. And I heard that they've put some new brake pads on his car that's kind of helping with some of the issues that he's been having. And so maybe this is Hamilton's breakout weekend. What do you got, though, from the vibes side?
Yeah, I think it just touches on what you just said. It's the vibes.
Because you just had some vibe dreams about brake pads, right?
Well, not that specifically, but
you were like, oh, I can feel that he got new brake pads, and so the vibes say that
just car tweaks in the positive direction.
You felt those?
Well, I didn't feel them, but I knew about them.
You knew about them? Okay. All right, who do you got on the second step?
I have Lando.
All right. What does the vibe say about Lando? What's going to happen with Lando this weekend?
Well, I just think there's going to be a double McLaren podium, which kind of gives away my top one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's going to be them duking it out for top step.
And you think Oscar's going to beat out Lando?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I also have Lando on the second step. I think Lando's just been a bit mentally weak this season, I think generally speaking, he's been mentally weak. We saw that last season. I do think he's been better this season, but he just, I don't know. I don't know if he has the championship mindset. You saw it last weekend when he was scared to go racing in the rain because it was too wet, and kind of complaining over the radio about his side of the track. And I don't know, he just gives off that he doesn't have the mental strength when it's important to go battle, and Oscar absolutely does. Even when he was chasing down Oscar last weekend, he made 3, pretty critical mistakes, locking his tires. I mean, even when he got overtaken off the safety car in lap 1, he made a mistake out of the turn, which allowed Piastri to get a better run on him going down, the long straight. And he just consistently is making these sort of errors when it's the time that you can't make an error. And so I think when he's going to battle head to head with Piastri, it's going to continue to be the same outcome. He is naturally going to be faster than Piastri. We see that a lot, but Piastri just doesn't make mistakes, and Lando makes mistakes when it matters, unfortunately. So I also have Lando on the second step, which means we both given away our top step, which is Oscar Piastri, for all of the reasons that I've just said. Plus, I think he is going to repeat last year. What do you got from vibes? Anything to sprinkle on top for Piastri on the top step?
I just think he's a given. I don't know. It's a vibe.
I just think he's a lock.
He's a lock. Yeah. He's a lock. I'll be upset if he lets me down, though.
You all heard it here. The Vibes has said, bet the mortgage on this absolute lock this weekend. Oscar Piastri on the top step. Your girlfriend, wife, partner, whatever it is, gets mad at you, you can blame it on her.
I've once never said.
You said, I heard you say bet the mortgage.
I've never said that.
Yep.
Why would I do that?
I don't know, but you did. So confident the Vibes were. All right, so now that your bets are locked in, what's your crazy prediction?
I've been pondering over here what my crazy prediction is, and in light of knowing that Red Bull probably will not make top 5, that's my flop. I do think, however, that if Yuki has to pull something out to save himself, this is the time he'll do it.
You think your crazy prediction is Yuki top 5?
No.
Oh.
Yuki top 10.
Whoa. Crazy. Gonna score some points.
Score a point. Just one.
Just P10, just a point.
Just get a point. Just get a point. That's all we need.
All right, Yuki. She's gonna continue to ride your train and try to manifest you into being a good driver.
I'm just trying to give him some confidence and give him some motivation. Someone's got to, besides his parents. Like, he needs someone in his corner.
Well, all right.
And I think he's great. I think he's funny. I think he has a good personality.
It's official. She's in your corner, Yuki, if you didn't already know it. So you need to go score a point for her.
Just score a point for Red Bull.
For Red Bull as well. My crazy prediction, I think Lewis Hamilton is going to place ahead of Max Verstappen, which I guess kind of goes in line with your flop. But on the flip side, I actually think it's going to be hard for Lewis to place ahead of Verstappen. I think Verstappen will have pace here. I think Lewis struggled last weekend. He did not have a good weekend, but there was some glimmers of hope, and they've got some additional free practice sessions this weekend. So hopefully they get that car and the upgrades that they brought last weekend a little bit more dialed, and maybe he'll have a shot at the reigning world champion. So that is my crazy prediction, and that closes out our predictions episode. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe, and we will see you next week with the race review and some special episodes. See you all later.